Hello, everyone and no one, and welcome to another Rotten's Guns. Today we're going to talk about Sig Sauer. Mostly going on how a lot of people want to just kick Sig Sauer to the curb because of all the valid issues the 320 has had, which multiple YouTubers have gone over. I'm pretty sure everyone's seen it, or majority of people in the firearms community have seen it. I mean, heck, it's even made its way to the news. The 320 has been plagued with issues, especially considering the fact that they based this off the P250's frame. That's how they decided to go about it, and it had its own issues as well. I want to say Portaband went over more of that and everything. Now, while there have been plenty of videos showing the SIG discharging uncommanded, no finger on the trigger and everything, I will give there being some slack of the percentage-wise. I think some of the earlier things for the uncommanded discharges, there may have been a percentage, not all, a percentage of them that were actual negligent discharges, considering the fact that we are all human, including law enforcement. I know some people like to take military and law enforcement and put them at some higher tier. That doesn't necessarily mean that is the exact case. They're human, they get complacent, they make mistakes. We all do. Now, like, I even know the 365, which I still think is probably one of the best feeling micro compacts, has its own issues with, I want to say it's the trigger spring. I think it's at around like 5,000 rounds. They have a higher tendency to break, which it's still an easier thing to replace. I think it's an $8 spring, and doesn't have the uncommanded discharge, considering the fact for the 365, they based it around the gun itself. I mean, if you look at the back of the 320, this is the actual cutout of the P250, which was that double action only pistol. Now, I know some people like to throw that. No, sorry. I think a lot of the issue does stem from predominantly bad engineering, but I don't have an engineering degree to discuss or to get into that. I do think one of the other issues that has been a bigger issue has been their lack of quality control on MIM'd parts. I know some people don't like MIM'd parts, but guess what? If you're okay with something like a Glock, it uses PIM'd parts, which means you're polymer injected molded. And if you're fine with that, you should be fine with MIM'd as long as it's actually got quality QA. Now, one of the things for the SIG that has been brought up is around shortly after before these issues started. I believe this current CEO is something Cohen, Mr. Cohen, and whatnot. He used to work over at Kimber when they had their issues with the MIM'd parts. But what's really funny is how for Kimber, they put out more models, a bunch of fancier looking ones and everything, and were having issues. Once the 320 really came into effect, SIG actually dropped a lot of their models. And I shouldn't say a lot of their models, but a lot of their secondary sub models that you had. Like, you don't really see too many of the Equinoxes anymore and everything. And I can't say for certain, but I believe that due to that CEO's leadership, they let a lack of quality control go on the MIM'd parts, especially those coming from overseas. And that's been one of the major issues. Now, again, there is also engineering issues that are having a problem with it. And again, bring up the spring for the trigger that I don't quite understand, and that one that's been relegated, or for the 365. So both of these are basically going to become safe queens. I'll probably end up putting this optic on something else at some point. I don't know yet. I'm still hoping. I'm not going to get rid of my 320. I'm probably going to go through at some point if all things go well and get, I think it's that OA Defense 2311 that takes the 320 mags. I don't think SIG's 2011 per se is going to take the compact mags. Now, I, probably being in the minority of this, would love to see SIG take their 320 mags and make them work on their 938 to do a double stack variant. But I'm in the minority of that would like to see a double stack single action only variant for the 938. I still think the modern D8 SA SIGs you can get, your 226s, 228s, this one being the the M11A1, your 229, your 2020, or yeah, your 2022 that you can still get in 9mm. All of those are good pistols. If you can find the stuff out of Germany, especially, or Switzerland or wherever they're coming from, I can't remember right offhand. Those are all really good ones. I know some people like to knock the 938, but it's still a good gun from everything I've seen. So that's really about it. I mean, why didn't the Glock go with, or why didn't the Army, predominantly for the military, go with the Glock, or continue on with the Beretta since they came out with the newer ones? It was due to that whole thing if they were wanting modular. I know some people have gone through and saying Glocks are modular because they got 32 parts in total. But if you actually go and look at the two of them, between the Glock and the, come on, 320, oh, you're going to be a prick. Can't believe I have to do this. Don't tell me it's because I had the mag in. Yep, it was. Yeah, if you're ever curious of a way to do that, I want to say the manual even says do that. See? And look into them. While the Glock does have less parts-ish, it's the whole fact you have the whole fire control unit. That's the reason why they went with it, because you could easily buy as many fire control units as you need, and then several different frames. So if a firearm gets issued to one person, but the compact doesn't work for them, they can go with a full grip compact rail or full grip full rail, depending on what the branch itself wants to go with. And yes, for anyone wondering, that is one of the Serpico triggers I put in my other Glocks, and this one is the purple on my Gen 5 G22. But I mean, I have purple grips on one of my Berettas, so if you got issues with it, that's on you. I still think the Army should have stuck with the Beretta, but that's just, I like Beretta, and I think double action, single action pistols are still a valid gun and not necessarily just need to go to striker fire. You can learn how to use a double action, single action properly. I know why they went to it, but, well, I shouldn't say I know why. My guess is because it's going to be the easiest thing to use and the easiest battery of arms to the average person. But yeah, from everything I've seen, would the 320 be any more a gun I would recommend to anyone who was asking me? Hell no. The 365 would be, but it'd be with the caveat, hey, look into how to replace the trigger spring and get yourself a couple others, because I've been seeing a lot. Now, again, 365s aren't perfect, and I think they're starting to, again, run into more issues with a lack of quality control on MIM'd parts, and parts in general. But from what I've seen of your standard SADA guns, they're all pretty good. I mean, all mine are from frickin', oh boy, 2017 and prior. So if we're having a lot of the issues. But yeah, I just wanted to jump in, give my little opinion. I got a couple links I'm going to throw in the one to Portaband. He went over it. I know, like I said, everyone and their mother and their uncle and their auntie and their cousins and just has an opinion, gone over it. The 320 has issues. SIG needs to fix those actual issues. And honestly, they really need to pick up their QA and increase their quality of it. And I do think that would dramatically help with the rest of the guns. But this is going to be an engineering nightmare that they probably ought to just retire and redo it from the beginning. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, this just shows you shouldn't base a striker-fired gun off a double-action-only frame. Like I said, one of the links will be from... when I check the links there for the 7 people who will probably see this, you can go ahead and check out the links. Like I said, I don't mind the gun. It's definitely not something I would recommend, and honestly, it's just going to be a safe queen because I'll never get the money out, or trying to sell it that I put into it, which is buying a second slide. So it's just going to get regulated to safe in the hopes that eventually Sig will actually fix everything. So thanks for watching. That probably made absolutely no sense and was just a bunch of randomness. Well, have a great day, everyone.